Alright, we're going covert today. You know why? Because you don't know when you might get your body snatched. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this Dawson's Creek looking cover here, but this is your typical science fiction story. This is a story about aliens. Creepy Twilight Zone music cue. Actually, we did that before. But this is where you go if you want some cheesy science fiction story. Actually, they characterize it as the terrifying sci-fi classic about the ultimate alien invasion. Well, there you have it. That sounds generic as hell. But this is actually, as it says, thrilling. It's a thrilling concept because it's not just these creepy aliens with green, slimy skin coming and, attacking mankind, although I do love Mars Attacks. This is the central premise here is that seed pods are drifting from a distant planet and come to invade the Earth and take over its host citizens, or the host planet. And so what happens is they actually formulate into the bodies of the people that are nearest to them, and in effect create an entire invasion in order to not eradicate mankind, but to take over and to survive. And the perspective you get this from is from a doctor, where the science really comes in, although it is minimal. And the doctor has patients and friends coming to him saying, hey, my uncle, or my grandma, or my sister, they've been acting kind of funny lately. Actually, they act exactly the same, but I can tell it's not them. I don't know what it is, but I know that that's not my sister. And as a doctor, you kind of fall towards the side of logic and science. And Miles, the name of the doctor, finds himself conflicted. He's actually a kind of conflicted person himself. He gets kind of angry sometimes. But he eventually gets dragged out by his friend Jack to Jack's house to see one of these seed pods for himself. And that's where the thrill and the terror starts to take place. Because what happens when you see a body taking over your friend, or potentially doing so? There's a huge panic, and what happens is now the number of imposters grows, and Miles and company become more suspicious of the threat. And that's actually kind of the beauty of this tale, even though this is very typical science fiction, and I don't think it's as, well languaged as Ursula Le Guin's writing. I think she has a more beautiful pen, or her penmanship is nice. Versus this, I think, is just kind of like quick, cheesy action. I found this actually a really easy read. 200 pages, I was reading like 50 at a time. I find that the premise works really well, and that it keeps you guessing, like, am I actually reading, or am I actually seeing a person right now when I'm reading in this account, or is this an imposter? Or is Miles delusional? There's so many questions that are raised, even though I don't think they're as deep as like Ursula Le Guin. I think that they keep you engaged, and you always want to find out more, find out like what happens next, and where's Miles going to go from here? Is he going to solve this problem? Is it up to him? And the book starts by saying, even within the actual writing itself, I warn you that what you're starting to read is full of loose ends and unanswered questions. I think during the read you get that, but by the conclusion, it's actually pretty satisfied. And this guy, Jack Finney, he knows how to close a book. I think that was one of the most satisfying endings I've read in quite some time. The central question, though, really rises in how much you're willing to believe in the extraordinary, in the invasion itself. And to what extent is this actually aliens or some kind of other creation? And I'll show you what I mean. Miles goes to his friend Manny, who's a psychiatrist, for a little validation on this, to know that he's not just like crazy. Because who wouldn't think they're crazy if they, you know, are seeing like these, if they think that like their friends or if they start to internalize like this kind of crazy myth, let's just say. So I'm going to read you an example and ask you what you think. This is Manny's explanation to Miles and Jack and co. Here we go. Page 66. Gently, Manny said, "And you, Jack, you found a body of approximately your height and build, which isn't too strange. You're an average-sized man. The face, in death, and this happens often, was smooth and unlined, bland in expression, and," Manny shrugged, "well, you're a writer, an imaginative man, and you're under the influence of the delusion that's loose in Mill Valley. And so are Miles, Theodora, and Becky. Me too, undoubtedly, if I lived here." And your mind leaped for a connection, leaped to a conclusion, explaining two mysteries in terms of each other. The human mind searches for cause and effect always, and we all prefer the weird and thrilling to the dull and commonplace as an answer. So that's the psychiatrist's rationale to this crazy happening in Mill Valley. The snatching of bodies. Do you buy it? Do you buy that this is all just a hoax and an illusion of the mind? That's a very psychological answer. And to what extent do you trust Manny? This is the kind of thinking that I have as I'm reading the accounts of characters, the interactions between them and others. I'm always left guessing as to what's going to happen next. And that's kind of the beauty of reading Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There is a film version that I can't speak to. I haven't seen it. Maybe one day I will. But the book is a good read, and I recommend it no matter the cover. So with that, I hope you keep enjoying your reads and asking yourself great questions while you read them. MT, getting fuller. Okay, I'm experimenting with the catchphrases. Give me a break.